Good day everyone. By the way, I am Venus Hilaga. So our group was assigned to report or discuss about perennialism, which provide the following details. First, definition of perennialism, the key philosophies, and lastly, the educational implications of perennialism. And I will let Shana take the lead in presenting the information or the definition of perennialism.
Perennialism. A values knowledge that transcends time. This is a subject-centered philosophy. The goal of a perennialist educator is to teach students to think rationally and develop minds that can think critically. Perennialists believe that the focus of education should be the ideas that have lasted over centuries. They believe the ideas are relevant and meaningful today as when they were written. They recommend that the student learn from reading and analyzing the works by history's finest thinkers and writers. A perennialist classroom aims to be a closely organized and well-disciplined environment, which develops in students a lifelong quest for the truth.
Top 3 key philosophers of perennialism. Robert M. Hutchins, 1899 to 1977. Hutchins was a chancellor of the University of Chicago who argued that the ideal education is one that is designed to develop mind. So for Robert Hutchins, the object of education is to prepare the young to educate themselves throughout their lives. In addition, Robert Hutchins said that it must be remembered that the purpose of education is not to fill the minds of students with facts. Instead, it is to teach them to think. He proposed a curriculum based on the Great Book of Western Civilization. So Robert Hutchins is one of the philosophers who introduced the Great Book program, a program that is centered in certain classics of literature, philosophy, history, and science that are believed to contain the basic ideas of Western culture. Hutchins believed in what he called the permanent studies. So Robert Hutchins views curriculum as permanent studies, where the rules of grammar, reading, rhetoric, and logic, and mathematics for basic education are emphasized.
The second philosopher is Mortimer Adler. He proposed a curriculum that would be appropriate for all students. Within such a curriculum, students would be taught language, literature, mathematics, natural sciences, fine arts, history, geography, and social studies. He also advocated for the use of the great books by arguing that students could learn a lot from the great works of the past. Both Adler and Hutchins opposed any form of differentiated curricula, under the guise that all students in a democratic society should have access to the same high-quality education.
Then lastly, we have Alan Bloom. He wrote The Closing of the American Mind in 1987. So tungkol sa aklat ni Alan Bloom na The Closing of the American Mind, which published in 1987, he talks about cultural illiteracy, which is being a crisis in today's society. So talking about cultural illiteracy of Alan Bloom's concept, it refers to a perceived lack of knowledge and understanding about important cultural references, historical events, literary works, and philosophical ideas among individuals in society. In order to address this crisis, he advocates teaching and learning about the great books, because according to Webb et al. 2010, they provide knowledge and information that has lasting significance. He sees this crisis as being particularly significant at the university level. Ergo, studying great books can develop students' critical thinking skills, engage in deep philosophical and moral discussions, and gain broader understanding of the world and their place in it. Moving on to the educational implications of perennialism. So as what Shanna said, perennialism is an educational philosophy that emphasizes the enduring aspects of human knowledge and values. So take note, perennialism emphasizes values, knowledge that transcends time. Why teach? When it comes to the education implications of perennialism, naniniwala ang mga perennialists that we are all rational animals, and that because we are all rational animals, then school should therefore develop the students' rational and students' moral powers. So layunin nito na palakasin ang kanilang kakayahang mag-isip ng malalim or their capacity of critical thinking skills, reasoning skills, and sound judgment. Because according to Aristotle, if we neglect the students' reasoning skills, we deprive them of the ability to use their higher faculties to control their passions and appetites. So according to Aristotle at ang mga perennialists din, if we fail to develop our reasoning faculty, or tawag nila nito is ay mental faculty, if we fail to develop our mental faculty, then we also fail to control the lower faculty that we have. So if someone has a strong will, if someone has a strong rationality, then it would be a lot easier for this person or student learn to make decisions based on proper logic, broad understanding, and critical thinking. These abilities enable them to face and examine their thoughts, aspirations, and desires more deeply.
What to teach in perennialism? The perennialist curriculum is universal one on the view that all human beings possess the same essential nature. It is heavy on the humanities and general education. There is less emphasis on vocational and technical education. What the perennialist teachers teach are lifted from the great books. Great books, it is because they believe that there is more learnings in history, religion, and literature. They believe that the past ideas are still relevant. That's why we still study the works of Shakespeare, Rizal, and other books that is related from the past. Curriculum based on recurring themes, because perennialists believe that what happened from the past might happen in the present or in the future.
How to teach ways of educational implication of perennialism. The perennialist classrooms are centered on teachers. It means that the teacher in perennialist classroom is seen as the authority figure in the classroom. As the authority figure, it is up to the teacher to disseminate the truth. Students engage in Socratic dialogues or mutual inquiry sessions to develop an understanding of history's most timeless concept. This method of Socratic dialogues requires the students to identify and defend their position regarding their thoughts and beliefs. The student is asked to account for themselves rather than recite facts, including their motivations and bias upon their views are based.